the partial repair? Is there still place for an option for the treatment of massive rotator cuff ruptures? So before I start my talk, if we want to discuss, we need to agree on the words. So what is massive rotator cuff rupture? For Coffield, it is AP diameter is over 5 centimeters, and for Gerber, 2 tendons or more ruptures. What about Delphi approach? Is the retraction of the tendons to the glenoid rim, and also tier 67% of the glenoid greater tuberosity exposed in the sagittal plane. And what are the irreparable rotator cuff ruptures? It can be related to tear pattern, the atrophy of the muscles, fatty infiltrations, retraction of the tendons. But what we know that not all the massive tears are irreparable tears. So we have some preoperative signs for the massive ruptures. It's the retraction, like patty calcification, superior of humeral heads in the AP view on the X-ray röntgenograms, Hamada classification, and also fatty infiltration of the rotator muscles in the MRI or sometimes in the CT scans. And also we have examination for the pseudoparalysis. And all of them, when we conclude that, we can be suspicious about the massive rotator cuff rupture. And we have also intraoperative signs. During arthroscopy, all the necessary releasing is done. If the tendon still cannot be fixed on the footprint, then what should we do? This is a massive rupture. And what about all the necessary releasing? What do you mean about the arthroscopic releasing? We are talking about supracranial bursectomy. We are talking about supracranial decompression. Also, the interval between capsule and labrum should be released. And we can do what Bigliani described, anterior interval slide technique, until the coracoid supraspinatus can be released. Also, Burkhardt described posterior interval slides between the supraspinatus and infraspinatus tendon. But what we know that over 3 centimeter mobilization tendon should not be done because of the anatomy of the suprascapular nerve. If we do an excessive tendon movement, we can be decompress the suprascapular nerve. Also, we can do double interval slide, anterior and posterior interval slides at the same time. But what is important, we should not forget about the tendon vascularity. So we can easily damage the tendon vascularity. So what are the treatment options in massive rupture of the rotator cuff? If it is young, active with no arthrosis, then there's no doubt, tendon transfers. What about old patients with severe arthrosis? Then we can do reverse shoulder arthroplasty. But what about the patients with middle age and mild arthrosis? It's challenging and it's difficult to decide the right treatment. So we can do a conservative treatment, simply debridement, plus or minus biceps tenotomy, tenodesis, especially partial repair, which I will mention a lot today about that. With the, again, biceps tenotomy and tenodesis, reverse arthroscopic supracranial decompression, we can do some balloon treatment, tendon transfers, biological augmentation, patch, superior capsular reconstruction, and also reverse shoulder arthroplasty can be in the options. There is no consensus in the ideal treatment of the irreparable cuff tears, but as we should remember the Einstein, what he said, everything should be as simple as possible, but not simpler. Then we should, in that point, remember the partial repair. We should not forget about force couples, which in the coronal view, the deltoid and the rotator cuff stability, and also in the axial view, subscapularis and infraspinatus, they are all should be balanced, and the center of rotation should be centered in the glenoid at the end. Also, we should not forget about the external rotators and internal rotators. We have 2 external rotators, infraspinatus and teres minor, and we have 4 internal rotators. At the end, if we have a massive rupture, even if we have lost infraspinatus and teres minor, then there is a very big difference between the internal rotator and external rotator. So we should not forget all of these. And also in 1993, Burkhardt mentioned suspension bridge theory, which is related to the rotator cable, as he mentions functional rotator cuff rupture. Even anatomically insufficient, we are biomechanically stable in that position. So we again should remember, even go back to 20 or 30 years ago and remember that. We should not forget about the margin convergence plus partial repair also is very important for us. In KISTA 2015, there is a study about prospective study about 7 years of follow-up with the 68 patients. Even that simple debridement or partial repair, both are effective in pain relief. And also in 2018, in International Orthopaedics, 39 patients, even just arthroscopic debridement and the tenotomy of the long head of biceps have good results with all these patients. What about the French Society? 2018, they have a prospective multicentral study, and they compare conservative treatment, arthroscopic biceps tenotomy or tenodesis, arthroscopic partial repair, latissimus dorsi transfer, and reverse shoulder arthroscopy. And what they conclude, the subjective shoulder values and assessed scores are same in all groups, but constant scores are better in partial repair and reverse shoulder arthroplasty. So when we come to 2019, we have a systemic review, which reoperation rate is 2.9%, unless you totally can repair, can't repair. Partial repair is safe and effective treatment method at the systemic review. And also another study compare partial repairs with complete repairs with the 10 years follow-up, and also both of them are good satisfactory long-term outcomes. Another follow-up between 2 and 8 years, does it really work? Yes, it is safe and effective. Of course, it's not as strong as complete repair, but it's an effective treatment method. And when we come to 2021, 30 patients with the 12 to 14 years of follow-up, with USG, yes, they have retear rate of, at the end of 14 years, almost 80%, but at the end, the clinical scores are not very bad of these patients, even the arthrosis too. Also in another study with compared margin conversions, even superior capsular reconstruction with the mean with the patient's age 59 years old, and they show that superior capsular reconstruction remains a good option for massive rotator cuffs that are not technically repaired. Even you technically can't repair marginal convergence or partial repair, you can do in that time superior capsular reconstructions. And a retrospective study compared 13 patients with full coverage and 14 patients with partial coverage, and at the end they are almost the same results with the 5 years follow-up. And also again with the retrospective study, the revision surgery is low, but at the end we know that the partial repair is not so strong like complete repair. At the end, 156 shoulders, and mean age 60 years old, mean follow-up 11 years. And when we look at that primary repair group and partial repair group have satisfactory results. So take-home messages. Treatment of options depends on patient's age, comorbidities, and complaints. Pre-op planning is very crucial. Anatomic repair is gold standard. Unless you can treat anatomically, partial repair can be an option. And if the patient is young, you can add additional procedures like tendon transfer, superior capsular reconstruction to partial repair. Thank you very much. And also, I want to invite my Indian orthopedic shoulder surgeons to 12th Turkish National Congress of Shoulder and Elbow Surgery with a good and very well-known international faculty. Thank you very much.